Matthew. How's it going today?
I'm okay.
Yeah, well, I see it's your first time in therapy, so welcome. Glad to see you. Today we're going to do an intake. It'll be shorter in nature, and we're just going to go through a series of questions. Some will seem very formal, and some may bring up some emotions that might be uncomfortable. If at any time you just don't want to answer a question, don't. Just let me know, and we'll move right past it. It's not a big deal at all. Does that sound okay to you?
Yeah, that works.
It works?
Yeah.
All right, excellent. The last thing I do want to disclose before we start is anything you say is 100% confidential in this room. The exception to that is that if I feel that you are in danger to yourself or danger to other people, then I do have to report it. So is that okay?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, excellent. All right. So then let's just start with the basics. How old are you?
39.
39, okay. And what do you do for a living?
IT work, software design,
Okay.
stuff like that.
Okay. Are you married?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay, we'll touch on that soon. And your sexual orientation and your gender?
Guess I'd say male. Straight male.
Right now?
Sure.
Okay, all right. And what brought you in here today?
Well, I've been feeling really depressed for a while and thought that I should probably talk to someone about it before it gets worse.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad you came in. You're feeling sad, but what is like the number one thing that's really been getting to you, that really motivated you to walk in?
Well, I guess I've been feeling really sad, mad, but mainly at myself, and it just seems to be trickling down into everything in my life.
Yeah, okay, there's a lot of sadness going on. How often do you feel this way?
Every day.
Every day. Wow, so that's a lot. So a lot of time. And how long has this been going on? How long have you been having these feelings?
For about a year now.
Okay.
It started when I lost my daughter. It was my fault. I was driving the car.
Wow.
I hate myself for what I did. It just feels like since that day my life has never been the same.
Yeah, what a tremendous loss. That had been very painful to go through.
Yeah.
Wow. You mentioned that you're feeling sad and angry, and that your life is being affected by it. What areas of your life are being affected?
Well, everything, work, friends, family.
Mm-hmm.
Family will call, I'll ignore it. Friends will want to go out. I just don't have the energy, or I just don't want to pretend to be happy. It seems exhausting. I just know that I'm in a bad space, and I'm just a bummer to be around, and just choose to be by myself. And I know it sounds silly, because what happened a year ago, and everyone else has seemed to move on, but I can't seem to shake it.
Yeah, so a lot of your life, your whole life is being affected, is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
When you say everyone's gotten over it, who are you referring to?
Mainly my ex.
Okay.
She left me 6 months ago. She told me that she just couldn't stay married to someone who was so depressed and spent all day in bed feeling sorry for themselves.
Oh, yeah, it had to have been hard to have a second loss like that after losing your daughter, and then you have your marriage end. That had to have been really, really challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there any other family you have in your life that you engage with, or?
I have my sister. She lives close,
Okay.
and she tries to call, but
Mm-hmm.
I avoid talking with her, and I don't want to bother her with my problems. It's not her responsibility to fix me.
Okay. So you feel like a burden to other people.
Yeah, I tend to keep my distance.
Okay. How about work? Do you have any work going? Are you enjoying that, or?
Well, my work has dropped dramatically as far as my performance. I'm just exhausted, tired, unmotivated. I used to be top of my department, but now I can't even fathom why they keep me around anymore. Can't imagine why I'm not fired at this point.
That's a lot of pressure to live with. So what do you think is causing the exhaustion?
I can't sleep at all at night. I lay awake in bed for hours just staring at the ceiling and thinking, and especially about my daughter. And then when I eventually do fall asleep, it's basically daytime anyway, and
Yeah,
at that point I'm so tired I just want to sleep all day.
yeah. Wow. So what are you thinking about? You see, you're thinking about your daughter, but what are you...
Just basically what I could have done different.
Okay.
Choices I made, and thinking how things would be different now if I had made different choices.
Okay, so you're feeling a lot of guilt and shame with the choices and the way the event went down.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Do you feel like there's a certain time of day that you're happier or sadder, or your mood is different?
I can't say for sure. I mean, I feel pretty down all day. It's worse in the morning. I think it's because I'm so tired from the night before, and I just know I have an entire day ahead of me.
Yeah.
It's daunting.
Yeah, that's understandable. Do you remember having these feelings of, depression or shame, guilt in the past before your daughter died?
Not to this degree. I lost my parents 5 years ago, ironically in a car crash.
Wow.
I don't know, it just kind of seems like I'm destined to lose people that are close to me. And I always wonder why I'm always the one that gets spared. But, I loved my parents very much, and I was able to get over it when I was younger. Perhaps I was just stronger back then, or maybe circumstances were different, but it feels much different this time with my daughter than it did with my family, especially my parents.
Wow. So yeah, you've gone through a lot in the last 5 years. Your parents' death, and then your daughter's death, and then your end of your marriage.
Yeah.
You really had some painful experiences to go through.
Yeah.
How do you think you were able to heal from the experiences that when your parents died? How do you think you were able to heal from that? Was there anything that was different than what's happening now?
Maybe just my age, maybe the fact that life hadn't quite beaten me down as much.
Okay.
But it feels like so long ago. I can't actually answer that correctly. I don't know.
Okay. Have you been having any, thoughts of self-harm or suicide?
No. Other than sadness and anger, I don't feel the need to harm myself. But I've never been this low before, so I wouldn't take anything off the table quite yet.
Okay. Is there any substance abuse going on?
No, I've lived a pretty straight and laced lifestyle, and have continued to do so even through everything.
Okay. So I know you've been going through so much recently, and it's hard to find enjoyment and, happiness in relationships. Or any activities that you enjoy in doing? Anything that brings you any kind of spark of happiness?
Not right now. I used to belong to a men's baseball team local. I used to love playing baseball. I used to love to cook. Don't have the passion or the drive to do either one of those anymore.
Okay, so yeah, you're really having a hard time engaging.
Yeah.
What would you say that you do well? Like, what's a strength of yours?
I'm not sure I have any real strengths left. I used to be, really, really athletic, but not anymore. No.
Yeah. Is there anything, from you, I'm hearing that you really want to, you used to be really active, and you used to cook, and you used to have these relationships. Are these things that you'd want to work on, or?
Yeah, it'd be nice to go back to those, yeah.
Yeah, you would like that? Okay.
Yeah.
And what motivates you? So when, you're having so much loss in your life, what's motivating you to keep going?
At this point, I don't even know. I guess just put one foot in front of the other.
Yeah. Okay. What are you hoping to get out of therapy?
I would like to maybe lift the depression, feel happier, get some rest,
Mm-hmm.
some good rest, sort of feel more like myself, go back to me, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
These sound like amazing goals that you can work on. How about relationships? Do you want to cultivate any, or?
And it sounds good in theory to be a part of a sports team again, have the camaraderie, and maybe find a girlfriend.
Okay.
Try to get back in the dating world. It's been a while, but it sounds nice.
Okay. All right. These all sound like amazing goals that we can work on in future sessions together. And I really appreciate you coming in and sharing all of this, opening up, and touching on some sensitive topics for you. Is there any questions that you have for me as we kind of conclude this?
Not that I can think of.
Okay.
Maybe when I get home, but not right now.
Not right now? Okay. Well, I just want to say thank you so much again for coming in and being vulnerable and sharing. And I look forward to seeing you in future sessions.
Thank you.
Yeah. Matthew arrived 15 minutes late. He was a little unshaven. It looked like he hadn't shaved in a few weeks. He was wearing baggy clothes, sweatpants. He had dark circles underneath his eyes, but that's probably from his lack of sleep. He is 39. He looked 39. That seemed reasonable. His behavior was decent. He kept yawning, seemed a little tired, maybe a little out of it. He had some apathetic tones when he was speaking and seemed a little bit withdrawn. He would avoid eye contact several times when I'd bring up questions, especially in regard to the self-shame. His speech was somewhat slow and there was a softer volume during certain parts. He has had a depressed mood for about 12 months. He had a very sad effect. And he seemed avoidant on certain topics. Some he was very forthcoming with, but some seemed very detached. And he had a somewhat withdrawn thought content as well. But his processes were clear, and they followed, tangible line, a linear line. He seemed to understand how the conversation was going and be able to answer questions thoughtfully. There was no hallucinations, and his intellect seemed fairly high. The big picture for Matthew is he's a recently divorced man. He's going through severe depression from the loss of his daughter a year ago, and then the recent divorce of his wife, which is leaving him more socially isolated and feeling extra depressed and withdrawn. He's feeling excessive amount of shame and hurt from the guilt that he feels for his daughter's death, feeling very responsible for that. He has estranged himself from his family and his friends because he feels like such a burden to them. He feels very other to them, disconnected. And he's having a hard time enjoying any activities from friends and social stuff and work because of his mood. And his sleep has been really challenging too, which is furthering his unenjoyment in activities and really affecting his work. His sister seems like a resource that possibly could offer support to him in the future if he wants to cultivate that more. And he seems like he's ready to make changes in his life, but he seems a little apathetic on how to get there, as if there's kind of a feeling of no purpose or no point, that they won't work. And he does seem very depressed, so possibly antidepressants could be an option, maybe talking to him if he wants to go see the doctor and using that resource. And diagnostically, he's definitely suffering from depression, major depressive disorder, and PTSD. He's having, depressed mood. He's having the loss of interest. There's fatigue and loss of energy, and definitely feelings of worthlessness that are going on that have been happening for 12 months. And the PTSD symptoms that have been present for 12 months is that firsthand, traumatic experience. And then he keeps reliving that nightly. There's avoidance with his sister, friends, family, and alterations in his cognition and arousal activities, trouble concentrating. So definitely issues with PTSD.